Today, I'm going to upgrade your English in 15 minutes. Let's do it. Hello, it's Keith from the Keith Speaking Academy, here to help you upgrade your spoken English. So, if you're studying for IELTS, I'll show you how you can go from a band 6 to a band 7. And also, if you're just studying for general English, conversational English, this will help you to see how you can expand your vocabulary and be more flexible and precise with your spoken English. So what I'll do is I'll show you 10 different situations where we use English, and I'll show you a simple basic sentence, then an upgraded version, and then why it's better. And that's it. Okay? Let's do it. Let's begin with situation or function number 1. Okay, giving opinions. I'm going to give you a sentence that is simple. Actually, I'm going to call it nice and simple because it's still good English. And then an upgraded version and then explain why. Okay? Giving opinions. Here we go. I think it's good because it helps people. I'd say it's generally a positive thing because it helps people in the long run. Okay, now the upgraded version is upgraded because it uses what we call hedging. It's quite soft. Instead of saying it's good, like for everybody, it helps people, it helps everybody. Well, does it? Is it black and white? It's generally a positive thing, is more subtle. It's just softening it, making it almost more precise, if you like. It's not black and white. It's generally a positive thing. And secondly, we're giving a time reference in the long run. A nice way of developing your answer or your phrase. Okay, number 2. Okay, number 2, giving reasons. I like it because it's interesting. I like it mainly because it keeps me engaged and it's mentally challenging. So the second one here, again, is using hedging and softening. I like it mainly because, suggesting it's not the only reason. There's more nuance there, right? I like it mainly because, and then secondly, we're using more precise verbs. If you say it's interesting, what does that mean? Well, it's interesting. It can be many things. Precise verbs are great for precise meaning, right? It keeps me engaged. It's mentally challenging. Nice way, again, to develop your sentences. Next one. Okay, next, talking about frequency. Nice and simple. I often go to the gym. Upgraded. I try to go to the gym 2 or 3 times a week, depending on my schedule. Okay. So what we've done here is we've gone into more detail, more specific. Rather than saying often, never, rarely, sometimes, you can switch that to twice a week, 2 or 3 times a day, just being more specific. And then also, depending on my schedule, it's introducing kind of a real life constraint. In reality, that we are constrained by our timetable. So it's giving extra information. Okay, and don't be afraid with longer sentences to pause. You'll notice I had a very natural pause in the middle. I try to go to the gym 2 or 3 times a week, depending on my schedule. It's perfectly natural. It's nice. So don't be afraid to upgrade. Let's move on to number 4. Okay, adding detail. Nice and simple. I live in a big city. It's busy in summer. Upgraded. I live in a fairly large city on the coast, so it's quite lively, especially in the summer. Right, the upgrade here is all about adverbs, these softening adverbs. It's fairly large, it's quite lively. These just give it an extra nuance, a bit more precision, especially in summer. Okay, and the other thing to notice is the so. We're adding an extra clause and connecting it. Rather than I live in a big city, it's busy in summer. I live in a fairly large city on the coast, so it's quite lively, especially in summer. Nice way to upgrade your sentences. Let's move on to number 5. Right, number 5 is describing preferences. Nice and simple. I prefer watching movies at home. Upgraded. Overall, I prefer watching movies at home, mainly because it's more comfortable and less expensive. So what we've got here again is that hedging, that kind of softening. I prefer blah, blah, blah. It's very blank and kind of direct. Overall, I prefer, or generally speaking, or I tend to prefer. It's a great way to hedge or soften what you're saying. Very natural in spoken English. Generally, I prefer watching movies at home, mainly because, again, just that softening. Not because, but mainly because. And then, secondly, we've got these comparatives. So giving a reason why you prefer it, comparing. If you prefer A to B, you'll be using comparatives. Here it's more comfortable and less expensive. Great way to extend and develop your sentences and upgrade. Let's take a little break. So I hope you're enjoying the video or your coffee or whatever you're doing. If you are finding this useful, do like and subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications. It does help. And why not think about joining my channel? Become a member of English Speaking Success. For just $2 a month, the price of a cup of coffee, you can join the channel and get access to lots of extra videos. Each month I publish new videos for members only. Often insights into my life, connecting the things that I'm talking and teaching to my life. So you get to see a little bit more how my life is inside, insights to my life, connecting it to English, and also lots of extra IELTS model answers if you're preparing for the IELTS speaking test. Check it out. When you go to subscribe, press the join button as well. 2 birds with 1 stone. Subscribe, join, and Bob's your uncle. Right now, let's get back to our lesson. Right, next one. But first, just a word of warning or a caveat. You may be thinking, Keith, do I have to use such complicated language all the time? No, you don't. Native speakers use a mix of simple and complex language. That's why I call the examples nice and simple. It's absolutely fine. But sometimes you may want to upgrade and use more complex language. Okay? Don't feel the pressure. Let's get into number 6. Okay, number 6, expressing uncertainty. Classic IELTS exam situation. Nice and simple. I'm not sure. Upgraded. I haven't really thought about it before, but I'd probably say here it's just a classic time filler. You're gaining time by saying something. It's also quite nice grammar. I haven't thought about it before. And a bit of hedging, again, softening. I'd probably say, you're not sure, right? So I'd probably say, Great IELTS strategy. Let's move on to number 7. Okay, number 7 is talking about the past. Nice and simple. When I was a child, I played football a lot. Upgraded. When I was younger, I used to play football quite regularly with my friends after school. So what's different? Here, in the upgraded, instead of using the simple past, which is fine, we're using used to. It's another way of expressing the past. I used to play football quite regularly. Again, it's a frequency marker. Instead of a lot, quite regularly, a bit more precise. And then finally, we're giving context with my friends after school. Giving a bit of extra context just makes it richer communication. Let's move on. Okay, comparing past and present. Nice and simple. My life is different now. Upgraded. My life has changed quite a lot compared to a few years ago, especially in terms of work. So what's different here? We've used a comparison phrase, right? We say compared to a few years ago, being more precise rather than my life is different now. My life has changed quite a lot compared to 5 years ago. Specific comparative time reference, right? And then we've got this narrowing of the topic, especially in terms of work. So if your life has changed, narrow the topic and talk about one specific thing, especially in terms of work. It's a great technique for so many situations. You narrow the topic, you go down that path. Great way to develop your sentences and answers if you're doing IELTS speaking. Next. Okay, number 9, giving examples. Nice and simple. I like pop music. For example, Taylor Swift. Upgraded. I like pop music. Take Taylor Swift, for example. I think she's so creative and entertaining. Now, the first one is good, but the second one is more natural. For example, Taylor Swift. It's okay, but take for example, a bit more natural. And secondly, there's a reason. You're then adding why she's a good example, right? I think she's so creative and entertaining. Adding that extra reason, developing your sentence. Good. Let's move on to the last one, number 10. Okay, finally, ending answers naturally. Nice and simple. That's it. Upgraded. So yeah, that's probably the main reason. Okay, that's it. I actually say that in my videos a lot, right? That's it. End of the video. That's fine. But in a conversation with an examiner in an interview, not very natural. It's too sharp, too direct. That's it. Yeah. So yeah, that's probably the main reason. Probably, again, hedging, softening, nice, natural way to end your answer. And takes us to a nice, natural ending of the video, I think. So let me just summarize how we've upgraded our vocabulary and our sentences here. We've used a very, very British thing here, which is hedging and softening. It's mainly because I'd probably say very nice, very useful. We're explaining and giving reasons for things. So, being more precise, using adverbs, right? It's fairly good. It's quite lively. Really nice way to develop and upgrade. Adding a frequency or time frame. Instead of I often go, I go 2 times a week or twice a week. Giving more context. I play football with my friends after school. Or narrowing the topic, right? My life has changed, especially in terms of work. Things like this. These are all lovely ways to upgrade your vocabulary or extend your language. As I said in the break, don't feel you have to always use complicated English. No, it's a balance. Sometimes simple, nice and simple, sometimes upgraded. Okay? Get the balance right, as the famous singers of Depeche Mode said. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you want to review and practice everything, there is a PDF you can download in the description. If you want to take your learning a step further to go much deeper with me, check out my online courses. There's a description down below, and I'd love to see you there learning with me. For now, though, let's say hasta luego. See you soon. All the best now. Bye-bye.